Oh, we're live. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody, from a sunny and incredibly hot Cornwall. Here we are for the West Cornwall Business Club Hangout on Air, the June edition. Most people are on the beach. We have actually already done that bit, and we had a cooked breakfast at the local cafe at our local beach this morning. So that was pretty cool, and that was thanks to Sue reminding me that we live so close to the seaside, we should go and visit it. So we did. And with us today, hopefully, is me, and Sue, because we know we're here.
Definitely here.
We're definitely here. And Phil Sissons is here because he's moving about. I've heard him talk. And Pat Scully is here in profile only, although he has tried to access the comment tracker, which means that there is human activity at the other side of his profile picture. As far as we can tell. Right, we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're going to try and show you another way of using this pesky comment tracker thing that for many people is like the bane of a Hangout on Air host's life. And I think I have another way of doing it which may work. Of course, I'm doing this live, and I should have rehearsed it numerous times, but I haven't. So we'll see what happens. But before any of that happens, Pat Scully, I can see from here, is saying he can't connect. So I'm not sure if that's his broadband connection or probably is, isn't it? I don't think he's trying to do it on Wi-Fi. So we'll go with who we've got now. And if there's anyone out there in land, like I know I've just seen that Ben Holtman has just said hi, everybody.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben. If you want to come on board, just say, we'll send you an invite. And I've seen Jane Hooper appear as well. So if you want to come online, then just give us a shout. Right, Phil, what have you been up to? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have to say, from a private point of view, I've been doing a lot of work in the garden, so that's looking highly polished. Travelling around Cornwall a little bit, just general sort of stuff. From a business point of view, I've been fairly quiet. One of the things that my organisation has done over the past 17 years is run with quite a large number of individual clients. So as a service operation, I've run with a portfolio of clients so that if one went quiet, then there'd always be 2 or 3 others that might provide some income. Over the last 2-3 years, my focus has been actually delivering to a couple of very specific clients for about a year, in some cases 18 months. And that has led to a position as a one-man band or a small micro consultancy. That is a good opportunity when you're head down doing a particular project to forget the fact that sooner or later it's going to come to an end and the next project has to be found.
Correct.
Well, that combined with the rather positive weather that we've been having in Cornwall has led me to a position where one project's finished and I haven't got the next one lined up. So my particular activity at the moment is making noises through some of my older contacts and some of my more recent contacts, and doing quite a lot of quiet networking in the background. So I've been busy on that sort of activity. Been good fun.
Do you travel all across the UK, or do you focus on the southwest, Phil? Where does a lot of your business come from?
Over the last 2 to 3 years, sorry, the bigger contracts are national. My particular focus is the use of IT in the health service, and although one of my projects was doing some work in about 5 of the very big hospital complexes in the southwest, so the Royal Devon and Exeter, Plymouth, Treliske, Truro, and Torquay.
Yeah.
Torquay is a funny place. It's hard to remember sometimes. The other projects like that have been based in London and have involved quite a lot of travelling around previously. My smaller contracts are much more focused, and the ones I get more fun out of are actually dealing with smaller companies who are 4 to 5 people growing up to maybe 10 to 20, looking at the sort of things that, if you like, where they're having the same challenges that I have, which is looking at how they improve their business, improve their potential, their markets, various other things, how they get them more sales.
Right.
And so I'm having to run through for myself all the things that I've taught other organisations to do. And that, I have to say, has been quite an entertaining exercise.
Yeah, yeah. It's very true, actually. Sometimes we give advice to businesses on digital marketing and social media, and then we actually forget to do it ourselves to our own business.
Yes.
That's what happens when you're busy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I looked at my own website, and that was a shock. So I've been looking at fixing some of the things in there. So it's really a sort of a time of, I found it quite useful, a bit scary, but quite useful, because it's actually worked out as a sort of a time for reflection. About, I'm quite enthusiastic about corporate social responsibility and doing things increasingly ethically. That's probably as I get older, to be truthful, because now I'm 24, I have to do it in a different way. And that means that potentially there's a way of rebuilding the portfolio of clients, rebuilding the portfolio of skills, bringing out skills that maybe I'd forgotten that I had in the past, which are now quite useful. Adding on new skills, being able to do, the Hangouts on Air is actually quite a new one for me. And that, well, the market will decide whether I do that particularly well or not, I guess.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, we've started to do a great deal of them, and have gained quite a good reputation so far for our involvement in them. But like you say, when we went to our own website, we realised it didn't mention anything to do with Hangouts on Air because it was so new. We were still thinking about all the other ways we'd used for networking and marketing.
It's hard to keep everything up to date, isn't it? Really,
it is. Yeah,
working hard.
it is. Yeah, it's moving so fast.
It's interesting. I put quite a number of things on some years ago about because much of my activity is very project based. It needs to be, or program management based. It's important to get the details of particular activities across and the challenges of each of those projects. I've also had proper jobs as well, where I've been employed for particular activities as managing director, chief exec, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Some of those are some years ago. As I lied about being 23. I'm actually over 60 now. And you're supposed to say you don't look like
we're quietly stunned, aren't we? Yeah, we can't believe that.
Yes, okay. The lie detector in the comment track has just gone off, by the way. But there's things on the website which I put on in all sensible intention, where, to be truthful, it's not really relevant anymore. The fact that I run a company with 350 people in it, like 200 or 300 million pound turnover. That's okay, but I'm not going to be doing that anymore because there's younger people better able to fit into the marketplace. What I can do is the sort of activity of like, well, here's a challenge that you might meet that you might not expect, because that's burnt me when I did it before. It might burn you again, and this is what you might do to, prepare for its arrival. There's those sorts of things.
It's a very good point, isn't it? Because I bet a lot of people's CVs are like that, where you'll say, 10 years ago I worked for a large corporation. I did. I was in charge of about 400 people. It wasn't a bigger budget as yours, Phil, but it was a few million quid. But I'm not after that. That isn't my market now. So it is important that you kind of think about, this is what I do now. This is how I help people now. And that's, it might be useful referencing that in your past, but putting huge big spotlights on it might confuse some people on what it is you're looking for.
There's a really good book that I've used a couple of times. For the life of me, I can't remember the author. But it sits on the back of on the bookshelf, which is over that way somewhere, and is what colour is your parachute? What colour is my parachute? And it's sort of an exercise of, if you were about to leave an organisation of your own choice or of somebody else's volition, things to go. It's almost like a workbook, which I have found even now to be quite useful, to go through and go, well, actually, what was interesting to me when I was 30, 40, 50, actually I'm not that interested anymore. You know, I know a lot about it, but I don't get the fun factor. And given that I've only got another 40 years to live, then I want to get some more fun out of the process.
Yeah, yeah,
You
great
can tell
point.
I'm having an ageist moment, can't you?
Oh.
Reflective is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Well, I think Phil, sorry, I think Pat's arrived. Are you there, Pat?
Oh,
well, he's
dear.
sort of,
He's kind of there, but we can't hear
he's
him.
more there than he was.
Subtitles,
we
Pat?
can see you, Pat, and you're moving, but we can't hear you.
No.
Are you on
Hear us, Pat. Why don't you wave?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, that's good.
Houston, we have a problem. Entertaining as always, isn't it, with technology?
I know. Are you, Pat? Are you muted? Have you checked your mic? I don't know. Can you say that on air? Are you muted? I knew once.
Oh dear.
It's quite difficult to read.
Playing up.
This is playing up, says Pat.
Send help. SOS.
Right, well, I'm going to move on to the first topic because this may not work out. This is so exciting.
What have you guys been up to?
Well, Sue's been up to
Many
tons of things, haven't you?
Tons and tons of things. Well, I've been doing gigs in real life, actual gigs, and I've been on lots of hangouts on air with my music. So last Friday I was on the American Chef Dennis's chat show where I played my violin in the middle. And then I had my own show on the Sunday, and I had some guests on the show, which was amazing. And I made some rock buns to entertain everyone as a show snack.
They were called virtual buns, weren't they?
They were virtual buns, but they weren't that rocky. So they were, in fact, pebble buns by the end of the show.
They were indeed.
Yes,
yeah.
But been very busy doing that.
And we've been experimenting and helping clients now get into the world of Hangouts on Air. We might have mentioned last time that we got quite a few clients excited about it until we actually told them it was in front of live cameras and YouTube, and then they all basically
chickened out.
Got a bit scared. So we're kind of in the process of helping to produce the shows or broadcasts. I think maybe it's because in America they're always called shows, and in the UK we've kind of adopted that. But you say that to your average business, we're going to do a show, and I think they don't understand exactly what that means. If you say meeting, online meeting, I think it sounds less scary, and people do those all the time. But the amount of people who prefer to do a conference call than this is still quite high, even though in conference calls you have to say, hello, I'm Phil, I've just entered the room.
You've seen that advert as well.
Yeah, I've seen that advert, yeah. which is hilarious, isn't it? But people still think that is a good way forward. And I'm hoping to do a Hangout on Air on Friday for a conference call with a client in London, whereas by doing it this way I can show them their stats and stuff by sharing the screen rather than saying, hello, I'm Phil, I've entered the room and I'm about to read the following out. So we'll we'll see how that goes, really. Yeah. So that's what we've been. Hi Pat, are you connected? No. But he's there in spirit anyway.
Oh dear, I think everything's going to be handwritten on a note and held up to the screen today. Okay,
well, and Pat, I know you can hear us, so I'm going to show you an alternative route of making the comment tracker work. And the comment tracker, for those of you who are in the Hangout on Air, Pat's showing something to us.
You can't hear me.
You can't hear me. No, we can't hear you, Pat. No, we can see you. We can imagine the kind of words you're wanting to say now, but you aren't allowed to, technically, I suppose. So we've got a good imagination. And
it's an interesting concept, isn't it? Actually, watching the Pat Scully.
I've never known him this quiet, actually.
Without hearing him, yeah. Yeah, I imagine the air is blue. Do you reckon?
I think so.
I think he's being very creative with
it. It's going to be blue.
Oh, here we go. Pretty.
Pretty blue, yeah. Right, okay, I'm going to share my screen now to show you how to set up the comment tracker. Inside the control room, we have a little green double bubble which is called the Common
Double
Tracker
bubble.
Double Bubble. I'll show you. I'll show you where I'm going to try and share my screen. Which button is it? That one. And I need to share. Where am I? It's not there. Great.
It's all live.
Exciting. I want that one. Right.
Oh.
Let's have another go.
You don't think you
There we
walk
go.
in the room and you're going to not read something? You want to talk through.
Oh, here we go.
You are
Right.
chasing.
So you should now be able to see my profile, hopefully,
Yes.
on the screen. Yeah. So what you do is when you set up a Hangout on Air, you obviously publicly share it to start with, and this was the public share for today's show. And there's a little arrow next to every post you'd put on Google+, and when you click on it, you can view the post activity, you can edit the event, you can delete it or link to it. There's something at the bottom called View Ripples. Careful, Sue. And when you click on Share Ripples, it will come up with something like this, and it gives you an overview of who has shared this event since you first told everyone about it. So you can see that Pat Scully has shared it twice. I presume that's Pat and Patters Stevens, is it? Or I can't tell at the moment.
2 Pats.
Probably too risky, 2 Pats. So I'm going to look at Hangout on Air Calendar, which is the version of the Radio Times in regards to Hangout on Air Land. So you always make sure they know about it. And there's a way you can view the post to see actually where they shared the post itself, which was here. And in the top, in the URL, you just copy that and then come back to your control room, and where you've got the comment track on the right hand side, you just paste that URL in and click add, and then it will find that person's share. He said hopefully. There it is. And then underneath that there's like this funny little wishbone thing, and if you click on that it will then find the first person who shared it, which was me, and then you click on that and it will find everybody who shared it so far. Here we go.
Phil, my screen has still got the Hangout events calendar on it.
Oh, okay. Right. And when you go over towards the left-hand side of your control room, can you see when you get up the little things saying like capture, cameraman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see one that says comment tracker, like a little 2 green bubbles?
Yes.
Aha. Well, click on that.
Continue it clicked.
Yep. And then it should then, when I go to shared, I'm going to share sources, add all, and when you click on your stream, you should be able to see.
I have it.
Aha, and there you have it. So it's by basically you go to the ripples of someone else's share, which is basically their post, get their URL, post it into the stream, click add, and then click the little share button, and it will find everybody who's mentioned you. And then to add everyone, all the guests like yourself, you just share sources, add all, then click on stream, and then everybody now will be able to bring something like that up online. So for instance, if I've got Ben Holtman's out there, so if I click on that, we can see that I can bring up his comment onto the show. And what's also changed in this in the last few days is that it now brings up the person's profile picture with the comment, so you have a better idea who it is who's talking. That's a very moody shot, isn't it, Ben?
Moody.
Very moody shot.
Moody
Yeah.
Ben.
Moody Ben. Right, very good. So now everyone that talks on within the show now can see. So we can see that poor Pat.
Smiling but mute.
Smiling but muted. Hi Pat, have you had any movement yet?
Are you more vocal? No. Dear. We could do with one of those, you know. Well,
the other thing we were going to talk about was the fact of having like a backup system. This is, see, I've said a pun now. Backup.
Oh yes.
There are our backs.
I should comb my hair a bit better, shouldn't I? Give it a toss.
We've got we've got a second camera coming out of another machine with a, And because the other thing we've been experimenting with, especially as Ben was saying about the idea of doing a radio show or music, is that you want to, the more you can have different camera angles. So you could have it could be your iPhone tethered to your laptop or your iPad, and you can just have, as long as you have the cameras muted, you can just move from one camera to the next. And the reason we thought of this was actually for Pat, because Pat wanted to show us.
Put this up again, Pat. Let's see you help. Need
So
to
very rude.
Oh, look at that! Very football orientated.
That's awesome. It's very good. Because we thought of Pat when we thought of doing 2 cameras, because I know Pat wanted to show us his workshop and different aspects of what he does with Stephen Slate, and having a different camera would be ideal. And so all he has to do is have it set up and then just click on it when he's doing a Hangout on Air and show people Anne in action or something. or himself in action.
England have gone right out. I could have done better myself.
Yeah.
They may as well have me on there.
So Patty, are you rebooting? Or is this a...
Oh dear God. You're a Spurs fan as well, aren't you, Pat? No.
And Jane Hoover said, Phil took the words right out of my mouth. Can you remember what that was? What that related to?
No, but I'm sure.
Tell us again, Jane. Tell us again. Anyway, Ben says it's a sexy shot. Wow.
Was that our backs or Pat,
I think he means
Pat?
himself.
I think he means his own profile shot.
Oh, his own profile. Indeed, yes.
Oh yes. Who took the picture, I wonder?
Yes, yes, Ben. Who took your picture, your profile picture?
Very
I think you have
to know.
you have different pictures and different platforms, don't you? And so I have to admit, I did mistake you on another social media platform. I didn't realise it was yourself. Oh, but Pat's still talking.
Is there any?
Has he rebooted? He did.
He did. I feel as though there's lots of conversations going on at the same time.
This is groundbreaking stuff, because it shows you can do a Hangout on Air with someone who actually can't talk.
Actually, we could get Pat on the phone, couldn't we?
Oh yes, we could. That's true. Oh yeah.
His phone's broke.
Oh God.
Oh, he has a plan. He's going to send us a text, is he?
This is going extremely well, everybody.
Pat, you can use the comments.
Yes, that would be a good idea.
It saves you writing it out.
You can't type that fast.
Yeah, true, and he can't do an England flag either, can he? Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh well.
Well, never
going
mind.
Swimmingly, isn't it?
It's going swimmingly, and there's only 5 minutes to go, so it's been
Just
good.
as well.
So you set up another camera on another machine behind you.
Yeah. So
Providing a
we did a
reverse
different,
view.
a reverse view. But actually, how we've used that how we're going to use that for a client was, we had a client who wants to do a cookery show, a chef in a hotel. So they can have a camera like it's on us now while they're talking, and then they can have, when they actually start to put things in their pot, the other camera can be pointing into the dish which they're making. So they can, from our job as the Hangout on Air producer is to focus the camera when they're actually talking themselves, and then when they start to show the actual dish they're putting together, the second camera is then, I was going to say blue boxed, but they're not blue boxed anymore, it's a white box. I think Google just does this just to
keep us all on our toes.
Stop us using the same terminology.
Yeah.
So you just highlight the second camera and then move it backwards and forwards. So it's moving more and more towards having your own mini TV show, really. But I did an experiment online with a couple of other people where we had iPads and iPhones attached as additional cameras, and it worked really well. And where this has worked really well in America is in real estate. So for estate agents, when they do like what's it called when you put together a house?
An open house.
An open house. They have someone talking on the main sofa about what the house is all about, giving you a bit of an outline, and then the person with the second camera, usually their smartphone, then walks around the house with that camera activated, showing the people watching through the Hangout on Air all the different rooms.
And the U-bends.
And the U-bends, yeah.
And the state of the plumbing.
So 2 cameras with an Hangout on Air gives you a lot of flexibility, especially for for depending on what clients do. But we've seen it for selling property, and also for things like cooking shows and stuff like that. Works really well.
It probably work quite well for doing something like presentations.
Yes.
In terms of having pictures of not only the presenter, but obviously then the material and occasional views of the audience, that type of thing. So it became more a sort of a video tutorial rather than a presentation.
Yeah, we've got a friend who they had a university wanted to advertise their courses in America, and they had various people who wanted to talk about the different aspects of the course, and so they set up the Hangout on Air. They had separate cameras for each person, so the person producing the Hangout on Air would just basically click from one person to the next. Although they were all sitting next to each other on a giant sofa, they just wanted to be able to have a close-up of each person as they spoke, and that's how they got round it. They had to have each camera has to be connected to a separate device. So although an iPhone worked very well for the real estate Hangout on Air we watched, it can be a bit fuzzy around the edges. So it needs to be laptops and iPads work well, depending on which version of the iPad you have.
Yeah.
I think iPad 1 will struggle with anything now, really. So not that one.
Yeah. Now I've got the comment tracker running. Ben's asked a question about connecting his camera.
How can I connect my camera so that I can be viewed? Is it too much to explain? And don't worry. Well, let's have a go.
Oh.
Presumably you'd need to. He's probably watching, and you'd need to invite him to the show.
I think we could give that a go.
Give that a go while he's here.
Ben, we're going to invite you on.
Ben, you have a little invite heading towards you now, which you should see in the right-hand side of your screen as an invite to a Hangout on Air, or you might need to go to my profile and it'll say Phil Aston has invited you to an event, but you should see it, so it's no problem. And if that works and you're still listening as you frantically try and find that message, you'll you will need to have a couple of earbuds or headphones, highly likely, and connected via cable. So if you're trying to do this on Wi-Fi, you might look like old footage found on the moon from 1959. Well, there wasn't any old footage on the moon from 1959. Well, that's what it'd be like anyway.
Oh my God! Not asking too much of him, are you? In the last minute of the show.
No, so it's fine. Yeah. And meanwhile, back in Stephen Slate land.
Have you got anything to show us, Pat?
Yeah, have you got anything to show us?
Are you playing hangman or something? What are you doing?
I think you've got to give the man credit. He hasn't disappeared.
Oh, dear God. Oh, Ben has joined the video.
Cable.
Oh, hello, Ben.
Hi.
Exciting.
Might look like old footage found on the moon from 1959. How are any old footage on the moon from 1959? Well, that's it. That's what it'd be like anyway. You need to put some. You need to put some headphones in, Ben.
Too much of him, are you? In the last minute of the show.
No, it's fine. Yeah. And meanwhile, back in I'll have to mute land. I'll have to mute him.
Wow, it's very exciting today.
So you're there, Ben.
Well, I have to say that's the most interactive thing I've been to since.
Exciting!
Like old footage found on the moon from 1959.
Ben's looking very startled. Don't worry, Ben.
Don't worry, Ben. Don't worry, Ben. You did make a brief appearance there live, but it's very important to have headphones in to stop or to turn that turns the speakers off so that you don't. So my voice doesn't then return back through our microphone in a loop.
Oh dear, what's Pat saying? Ben has two screens open.
Ben has two screens open.
It's such a fun day.
How do you know that, Pat?
How do you know,
Pat? You haven't even got sound. How can you tell?
He's got extra senses working because he can't speak. He's
Come
muted
on, right,
his
faster.
laptop.
We haven't got time.
Yeah, come on.
He'll have writer's cramp by the end of it.
It's like the olden days, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah, writing on a slate.
Writing on a slate.
What's he saying?
Because I have had it here, 2 screens.
Oh,
Oh. So you're obviously
Nice one,
following
Pat.
the wrong screen.
No,
Ben's having a go joining the video again. Do you think it's going to work? He's not
I
got
don't
any
know.
ear
he's
things.
muted at the moment. As
Oh.
long
I
as he
muted
turns.
you just because I didn't want any feedback.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
That's okay.
That's
No,
better.
that's working.
Yeah, you've arrived.
Technology, it's there.
Yeah, well, welcome, Ben.
I had to install a little plug-in, but off
That's
we went.
it. Yeah, everybody who joins a Hangout on Air for the first time, Google will ask you to install a little plugin which takes only a few seconds to do, and then after that you're off and running really. So yeah, glad you've been able to pop in.
Yeah, just in time for closing, as it were.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for next time.
I think that means you buy the drinks then, Ben.
Yeah. Are you so Ben? Are you actually in your office at the moment? Are you?
Yes, in the office behind, I can give you a tour. There's only a big square room. That's about it. So yeah.
Lovely.
Great, because you also do DJing as well, don't you?
Yes. By day, I sell copiers and printers and such like, but by night, I slip on a pair of actual big headphones,
Whoa.
play some music.
Yeah, cool. And where do you do your DJing?
It's mostly online. I do 2 radio shows, but one of them is syndicated, so it goes out at the moment on 3 different stations. I'm in talks with another 3 at the moment, so I basically produce one show and then share it across to various different stations and such.
So is that pre-recorded show, and then you?
Yeah, pre-recorded. I clip it all together and produce a 2-hour show and then send it out to anybody who wants it.
Well, we were talking to an organisation last week on a Hangout. I think it was you, Sue, wasn't it? With on the Chef Denny show, was it?
Oh yeah.
Where they talked about you can do Hangout on Air where it's pre-recorded and the whole thing is done. And just like TV people want to get their Christmas special out early, so they pre-record it, and then it just goes out at a specific time. And as long as you're kind of there somewhere to see the comments come through, no one knows it's not live.
No. Stuff
So
in the turkey.
yeah, so there are even people thinking of doing Hangouts on Air as pre-recorded offerings, really.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. I mean, I do via Twitter. Used to do a lot of live interactions through there.
Yeah.
But as Hangouts is something I was thinking about doing. But to be honest, I think it might be a bit boring because it'd be different if I was live mixing, if you know what I mean, live performing records. But because I pre-record it, it's literally I would just be sat there and go, oh, by the way, that was a record by so and so. This record is now by so and so, and I'll be sat there.
Yeah,
you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I think you're right. It is the interactivity and the fact that you're not quite sure what might happen next on Hangouts on Air that makes them interesting, I have to say.
yeah, but similar to the like the work you're doing with chefs and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if it was a live performance, there's obviously a lot more to see there. You know,
Well, it's like your shows, Sue, aren't they? They're
Yes.
actual, they're live concerts streamed around the world, and that works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
So that's worked really well. So, well, thanks for joining us, and it's only for the last 5 minutes, but it's good to have you on board, Ben, because we're trying to get as many people to experience this, and because it's a great marketing opportunity, it's a shame if people don't give it a go, and it's a virtual route around the table, and you don't have to get up at 7:30 in the morning.
This is it, and it can improve your handwriting.
And
you can't get the
and
voice
it
to work.
It can, and there's Pat.
Live mute performances too. We could do some miming. Do you remember Max Wall? We could do that, couldn't we?
I think we have to give special credit to Pat.
Oh,
He's been here so out writing feverishly.
feverishly. I think we should send a St. Bernard round or something.
Maybe he's just having his tonsils out, and he needs to.
Yeah, just remember he can hear every word.
Virtual.
It's got to be a market in that, Pat.
Okay, right. Well, I'm going to leave Pat till last to give him a chance to write this down. So we're just going to go round the virtual table to see what we've all got coming up in the next week or so. So, Ben, what have you got coming up?
Ooh, top secret potential. Ooh, top secret stuff.
Bit of that,
All right.
I've got some possible interesting stuff coming up. So I shall share it with you soon, hopefully.
Oh, okay.
Within the next couple of weeks. So watch this space.
We'll be watching that.
Okay.
Space.
And Phil, what have you got coming up?
I've got a lot of top secret stuff going on as well. It's so top secret, not even I know it. So it'll be just more of the same, having a recap and
Okay.
getting out and about in the sun, I hope.
Okay, and
I'm
we.
interested to say that against all the odds, Glastonbury is going to get rained on tonight.
Oh dear.
Oh really?
Bring on the mud.
Bring on the mud.
Bring on the welly.
Well, as we go over to Pat, we know that whatever Pat's working on is so top secret, he really can't tell us
He's
anything
been
about
silenced.
it. So even if he wanted to, he just cannot speak to us.
Dear.
And Sue, what are you up to?
Well, many things.
Mhm.
I have more gigs, and also all of us are going on an American music hangout
Oh, that's true.
on Sunday. So it will be me and Phil playing rock guitar, and my two sons playing guitar, and Dan will be singing. And it's going to be an hour long, and there's hundreds of people coming already from around the world. So that's going to be very exciting, and it's hosted by Christine de Graaf, who's one of the top producers.
Yeah, so we've got that. So we've got a lot going on.
Yes, you better practice.
I had, hadn't I? Okay, well, thank you very much. Oh, there's more words coming in from Pat.
Oh, look at an up and down motion of the bird.
He's very good, isn't he?
He's really
Yeah,
good.
he's very good.
Thank you, Pat.
One might think he could have almost planned this, actually, to be the standout guest without saying a word.
He still made
Did
his
someone
presence
tell Phil that this is a hangout, not Pictionary?
As long as it doesn't turn into Twister.
Yeah. In fact, you'd need more than one camera then, wouldn't you? To be honest, I think. Okay, well, I'm going to close the broadcast now. So I'll see you all in the green room for a few moments.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks everybody
Thank
out there watching. You might watch this in the future.
Bye.
Bye bye from Cornwall.
Good luck.
Thank you.